நண்பர்களே, திரு கல்யாணம் அவர்கள் ஆற்றிய உரையின் இரண்டாவது பகுதி. இது காந்தி விட்டு போன சொத்துக்கள். காந்தி சுடப்பட்டு இறந்தபோது என்னென்ன பொருட்களையெல்லாம் அவர் சொத்தாக வைத்திருந்து விட்டு போனார் என்பதை இந்த பகுதியிலே நீங்கள் பார்க்கலாம். திரு கல்யாணம் அவர்களுக்கும் நான் கடமைப்பட்டிருக்கிறேன். ஒரு 2 ஆண்டுகளுக்கு முன்னால் மறைந்து விட்டார். என் மீது மிகுந்த அன்பு கொண்டவர். அவர் என்னிடம் சொல்லியிருந்த பல தகவல்களெல்லாம் நான் நினைவு வைத்து அவர் பேசுகிற போது எழுந்து ஒவ்வொரு தகவலாக அவருக்கு நான் நினைவுபடுத்தி பேசச் சொன்னதை நீங்கள் இப்போது பார்க்கலாம். உண்மையிலேயே எனக்கு மிகுந்த திருப்தியை தருந்த நிகழ்ச்சி இது. நான் நல்லதும் செய்திருக்கிறேன், கெட்டதும் செய்திருக்கிறேன், விரும்பியும் செய்திருக்கிறேன், தெரியாமலும் நடந்திருக்கின்றன. ஆனால் திரு கல்யாணம் அவர்களை அழைத்து பேசச் சொன்னது என் இறுதி மூச்சு உள்ளவரை கிட்டத்தட்ட ஒரு சாதனையைப் போல் என் நெஞ்சில் நிலைத்திருக்கும். இன்னொன்றையும் நான் குறிப்பிட்டு சொல்ல வேண்டும். ஒரு முறை எம்எல்ஏவாக, ஒரு முறை பாராளுமன்ற உறுப்பினராக இருந்து பணியாற்றிய தமிழ்நாடு காங்கிரஸ் கமிட்டியினுடைய தலைவராக பொறுப்பு வகித்த இருந்த திரு குமரி அனந்தன் அவர்கள் இந்த விழாவிற்கு வருகை தந்திருந்தார். அவர் இந்த விழாவிற்கு வருகை தந்திருந்தார் என்பதையும் தாண்டி இதனுடைய சிறப்பு என்னவென்றால், இப்படி உயர்நீதிமன்றத்தில் திரு கல்யாணம் அவர்கள் காந்தியை பற்றி பேசுகிறார் என்று ஒரு பத்திரிகையில் என்கேஜ்மெண்ட் காலத்தில் ஒரு மூலையில் ஓரத்தில் ஒரு வரியில் வைத்து வந்திருந்த செய்தியை படித்து யாரோ ஒருவர் திரு குமரேந்திரிடம் சொல்ல அல்லது அவரே படிக்க அதையே அழைப்பாக ஏற்றுக்கொண்டு எந்தவித பந்தாவும் இல்லாமல் வந்து அமர்ந்து கேட்டுவிட்டு போனார். ஒரு கணம் என் கண்கள் பணித்தன. அவருக்கு அங்கேயே ஒரு சால்வை அணிவித்து பாராட்டி நான் சொன்னேன், இப்போது நீங்கள் பார்க்கலாம், உங்களுக்கு எங்களால் செய்ய முடிந்த கௌரவம் இதுதான், இதை நீங்கள் ஏற்றுக்கொள்ள வேண்டும் என்று சொன்னேன். மிக பெருந்தன்மையான நபர். இந்த இரண்டாவது பகுதியை ஒவ்வொரு வழியையும் கூர்ந்து கவனியுங்கள். எனக்கு ஒரு குறையும் இருக்கிறது. ஒருவேளை திரு காந்தியுடைய உதவியாளர் திரு கல்யாணம் அவர்களை தமிழில் பேச சொல்லி இருக்கலாமோ என்கிற ஆதங்கம் இத்தனை ஆண்டுகளுக்கு பின்னால் வருகிறது. என்னை மன்னித்து விடுங்கள். உயர்நீதிமன்றம் மொழி ஆங்கிலம் என்பதனாலும் நான் தலைவராக பொறுப்பேற்றிருந்த அந்த சங்கம் இந்தியாவினுடைய முதல் சங்கம் யூரோப்பியன் பாரிஸ்டர்களுக்காக மட்டுமே ஆரம்பிக்கப்பட்டது. நான் சில முறை சொல்லியிருக்கிறேன், என்னை போன்ற சாதாரணமானவர்களை அது உறுப்பினராகவே சேர்த்து கொள்ள மாட்டார்கள். மகாராஜாக்கள், மிட்டாம் ராசிகள், 1000 வேலி நிலம் உள்ளவர்கள், மந்திரிகள், பல மந்திரிகள் அங்கு அவர்களைத்தான் உறுப்பினராக சேர்த்துக் கொள்வார்கள். அந்த சங்கத்தில் என்னை உறுப்பினராக சேர்த்து கொண்டதே பெரிய விஷயம். அதில் நான் திரும்ப திரும்ப தலைவராக வந்தது என்பது என்னுடைய தாய் தந்தை எனக்கு போட்ட பிச்சை, கடவுளினுடைய அருள். அங்கிருந்து அந்த மரபை காப்பாற்ற வேண்டும் என்பதற்காக அந்த மரபு கருதி நான் அவரை ஆங்கிலத்தில் பேச சொல்லிவிட்டேன். என்னை மன்னித்துவிட்டு இந்த நிகழ்ச்சியை தயவு செய்து கூர்ந்து கவனியுங்கள். இன்னொரு முறை இதை போன்ற ஒரு திருப்தியை அளிக்கிற செயலை என் வாழ்நாளில் செய்ய இயலாது. இன்னொன்றும் இருக்கிறது. அந்த இதே சங்கம் 150 ஆண்டுகளை நிறைவு செய்த போது இந்தியாவுடைய தலைமை நீதிபதி திரு தத் அவர்களையும் ஒரு 3 உச்சநீதிமன்ற நீதிபதிகளையும் அழைத்து ஒரு சிறந்த விழா எடுத்தோம். அந்த விழாவில் சில காரியங்கள் செய்தோம். குறிப்பாக என்னுடைய பர்சனல் சாய்ஸ் ஒரு சிறந்த விருந்துக்கு ஏற்பாடு செய்திருந்தோம். 1 மணி அளவில் மதியம். அதே நேரத்தில் இந்தியா முழுமைக்கும் 1.5 லட்சம் பேர் ஆசிரமங்களிலே, ஆதரவற்றோர் இல்லங்களிலே வாழ்கிறவர்கள் அதே நேரத்தில் சாப்பிட வேண்டும் என்று ஏற்பாடு செய்ய முயற்சி செய்தேன். ஒரு 15,000 பேர் மட்டும்தான் என்னால் திரட்ட முடிந்தது. அதை செய்தேன். அந்த திருப்தி இருக்கிறது. இன்னொரு பதிவில் அதையும் நீங்கள் பார்க்கலாம். நான் இப்போது இதை சொல்வதற்கு காரணம், எனக்கு மிகுந்த திருப்தி அளித்த விஷயங்களில் திரு கல்யாணனுடைய பேச்சு ஒன்று, விழா ஒன்று. இன்னொன்று, தலைமை நீதிபதியும் உச்ச நீதிமன்ற நீதிபதிகளும் உயர்நீதிமன்ற நீதிபதிகளும் நாங்களும் சாப்பிட்ட அதே நேரத்தில் தமிழ்நாடு, கேரளா, ஆந்திரா, உத்தரப்பிரதேசம், பாண்டிச்சேரி என்று பல பகுதிகளிலும் 15,000 பேர் சாப்பிட்டார்கள். அதையும் அவர்கள் சாப்பிடுவதை அப்படியே எடுத்து நாங்கள் சாப்பிட்ட இடத்தில் பெரிய ஸ்கிரீன் வைத்து காண்பித்தோம். இந்த 2ம் தான் எனக்கு மன நிறைவை தந்தது. தயவு செய்து ஆங்கிலத்தில் பேசுகிறார்களே என்று என்னை கோபித்துக் கொள்ளாமல் பெருந்தன்மையோடு என்னை மன்னித்து பாருங்கள். நன்றி.
Good evening, everybody. I feel greatly honored that I have been invited by the Bar Association to come and speak to you about my days with Gandhi. In fact, the subject given to me is only the last day of Gandhi. So I have to confine my talk only to the last day. I have a lot to tell you about many other matters with which I was associated when I was with Gandhi. But I don't think I will be able to tell you much about it. And I thank Justice Rajeshwaran, also Honorable Justice, for having come here. I feel it is a great honor done to me. He used to get up early in the morning at 3:30. Generally, Gandhi used to get up at 3:30. When I first joined him, I was in Delhi. When I joined him in Sevagram, I was given a hut to stay, and Gandhi wanted me to get up at 3:30. I was just wondering why this man wants to get up at 3:30 and trouble people. You know, everybody was supposed to come there, all the Ashramite people, to attend the prayer at 3:30. And I was wondering why this old man wants everybody to get up at 3:30 so early. We used to get up at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. But now in retrospect, I feel he did nothing unusual. Any man after 75 gets up at 3:30. So there's nothing to worry. So I don't blame Gandhi for that. So I spent my days with him. I learned a lot about daily life. Started with prayer. Prayer in the morning and prayer in the evening. He used to call prayer the early morning prayer. Only the Ashramites were there in the room, and it was a public prayer in the evenings. Prayer is the key of the morning and bolt of the evening. If any of the Ashramites didn't attend the prayer, he won't get angry. Anger means violence, so he won't get angry. You will quietly tell them, if you don't feel like attending the prayer, better you stay at home or go somewhere else. Here, prayer is compulsory. So that is the way he used to tell people. So he used to get up early in the morning. I'll just tell you briefly about my day with Gandhi and then start this last day. 3:30, he was very economical, even in the use of water. We complain of water scarcity. He won't say there is water, and neither do I say there is any water scarcity. People don't know how to use water. They waste a lot of water. He had only one bottle of water for the whole day. That was the one he would take in his hand and wash his mouth and all that. Not you open the wash basin and all that, nothing of that kind. So immediately after prayer, he would have a morning beverage. No tea, no coffee, nothing in the ashram. Some people used to make it in the rooms, that was permissible. But generally everybody had very hot water with lime in it and tablespoon of honey. Gandhi used to take one full glass of that. He never used any of this silver or metal jars. He always used a marble glass, marble tumbler, tall tumbler. It was very hot. He would hold it with a napkin and go on sipping. That was his morning tea. Immediately after that, that was my morning dictation. He would dictate replies to letters addressed to him for 1 hour. I never could understand what he was talking because he didn't have his dentures, and all that I was hearing from him was shush, shush, shush voice. I could wake up and I made a lot of mistakes, but I would never get angry. And the dictation would last only for 6 days in the week, Monday to Saturday. Now on Mondays he observed silence from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. On those silence days, he would give me the matter in writing. His handwriting was still worse. So his talk I couldn't understand, and his writing, I put up some of his writings here. His handwriting was worse. And my senior secretaries everybody used to carry a magnifying glass to see what he has written. Sometimes he would write a letter to somebody, MDS. You do not know whether he is writing to him, my dear Sardar Patel, or my dear Sushil Nair, or my dear Sahish Sohrawardi. We never know about it unless you go through the whole letter. But going through the whole letter would be an ordeal because I couldn't understand what he has written. So it would be the secretaries who would tell me by after looking at the glass for whom it is meant. And that's how he used abbreviations. So you could never find out what he wanted to write. And immediately after dictation, he would have his morning walk regularly for half an hour. Inside the room if it is raining, otherwise outside in the lawn. Then after that is massage with mustard oil and lemon squeezed into it. He hardly used soap. He used to rub his body with a towel, and that is why his body was always shining. They hardly used soap. He would have his massage, and then morning meal consisted of simple thing. He never ate rice or chapati. He ate khagras. Khagras are big chapatis. Gujaratis make it. And then boiled vegetables. He never ate any costly vegetables. Whichever vegetable when cut would give you water. What do you call this? Pushanika, parika and all that. No salt in it. Salt he avoided because of Kasturba. Many people do not know why he avoided salt. So I was thinking that he avoided salt because of the salt tax and all that. Nothing of that kind. Once Kasturba fell ill and doctors came and examined her and they said, you should avoid salt, otherwise you may die. And Kasturba was supposed to be a very adamant lady. She would argue with the doctor. How can you live without salt and all that? So Gandhi was sitting by his side. Because the doctor is advising you, why don't you listen to him? He said, can you live without salt? Gandhi said, yes, I can live. From that day onwards he gave up salt. This is the reason he gave up salt. To teach her a lesson, he gave up salt. Similarly, in the case of milk, he was taking milk regularly. Milk means what? Cow's milk and buffalo's milk, not camel's milk and donkey's milk, nothing of the kind. And someone told him that the milkmen were using a stick to get more milk, pierce the back of the animal and get more money. So Gandhi thought it is not advisable because they are they are not treating the animal properly. So he gave up milk, and from that day onwards he started taking goat's milk, because for the goats they don't do that like that. Only for cows and buffaloes they do it. So that's what I want to tell you about Gandhi. The whole day after morning meal would be meeting people by appointment. And the earliest caller in his last days were Dr. Rajendra Prasad. At 5 o'clock he would come and have a walk in the lawn. Usually 9 o'clock, after independence, Panditji on the way to his office, he would drop in, and even if Gandhi was in the bathroom, he would go there and talk to him and go. That's how it was. Whole day by appointment, he spent the day, never sat idle even for a single minute, always writing articles or writing letters, replying to letters and all that. Midday siesta for hardly 10-20 minutes. After the meal, 2 o'clock, a little orange juice. That's all. The same meal in the evening, saltless, with poshanika, paranika and all that. Nothing, with goat's milk, nothing else. He lived like that sparingly, and that's why some people, even Sarojini Naidu used to say how costly it is to maintain this gentleman. He used to travel by third class, but so much of arrangements had to be made, I mean, the old bogie was vacant when he went, and the Sarojini Naidu used to make fun of him that he wants to travel third class, but see the whole, he is occupying the place of 50 others. That's how it is. Now, this day ended. Every evening there was a prayer. In the public prayer, in the last days, hardly 200 or 300 people came in Birla House. Same thing happened on the 30th of January. Early in the morning we got up at 3, not knowing what is going to happen. On 20th of January, a bomb was thrown at his prayer ground by one Madanlal Pava, a refugee, because his parents and some people in his family died during the partition. But somehow it didn't affect Gandhi. He thought somebody was, some military practice was going on and there was no noise, no attempt to kill him and all that. On the 21st morning, this happened on the 20th. 21st morning, the inspector came from the police department saying that they want everybody coming to the prayer ground to be searched. Their pockets should be searched. I said, I cannot permit you that unless I ask Gandhiji for that. So I asked Gandhiji, I told him, a sub-inspector has come. So anybody coming to attend the prayer meeting, his pockets will be searched because they may be hiding anything in the pocket. Gandhi said, how can I attend the prayer meeting? I don't want to attend the prayer meeting. That should not be done. I replied to that man. Immediately after that, a DIG came. DIG said he wanted to see Gandhi. I said, he has already replied that he doesn't want anybody to be searched, anybody's pockets to be searched. So he insisted on seeing Gandhi. So I took him to Gandhiji. Gandhiji was there. Said, what are you going to do? Said, we are going to post about 20 people, 20. They'll be searching the pockets of everybody there coming here because there is a rumor that you may be killed. And the Home Minister at that time was Sardar Patel. He was the Deputy Prime Minister also. He has ordered the police to take care of you and all that. So he said, I can't permit that. What are you going to do? How are you going to save my life? He said, we'll post some people and have that pocket searched. Gandhi said, nothing doing. Even if you post 20,000 people, I am in the hands of God. Nobody can save me. Your search won't help you to catch the culprit. That's how it said. So that is how he was killed on the last day, because he avoided this security. Security, he said, is not worthwhile. No man should expect any security. That's what he said at that time. Now you see how everybody wants security, all VIPs, ministers and everybody. Even Englishmen never had security, for your information. I want to tell you about my experience during British days, but there is no time for it. Even British minister, British viceroy, they didn't have a security. No, they used to go on the road and we used to wave at them and they used to wave at us. Now we got security for everybody. Now, coming to the last day, we got up at 3:30, as usual, massage and dictation and all that. We never knew what was going to happen in the evening. In those days, there was a rumor afloat. There were differences between Gandhi and between Jawaharlal Nehru and Patel. It was a fact. And Gandhi wanted to solve the problem. He wanted both to work together and continue in service. but somehow they were drifting apart, and there was one was blaming the other. Each day something or that coming in the press. So Gandhi thought he should speak to Patel about it. So on that day, in the evening meal when he was having at 4:30 or 5, he sent for Patel, and Patel came to see him. And the talk went on beyond the prayer time. Prayer time was 5 o'clock, but this went on till about 5:10. Gandhi didn't know that the time had gone. And the girls sitting there, and we were all sitting by his side, we were not bold enough to tell him that the time is up and he should stop it. He should go to the prayer at the right time. No, we couldn't say that. But at 5:10 p.m., Sardar Patel's daughter was there. She told him it's a prayer time and you go and better stop talking to him now. That day he discussed with Patel, and Patel was all the time, whenever any trouble happened anywhere, he was always a little pro-Hindu. That is why the differences arose between Nehru and Patel. Nehru was a little pro-Muslim, a little. So there were differences between them, and that is what he wanted to solve. And after Gandhi's death, they embraced each other and they said they would continue to serve the country in the usual manner. That is the last day. We were there on the last day when Devdas Gandhi and others, his the only son was there in Delhi. He came at night, and other sons were abroad. One was in Durban, and Harilal was in Bombay. He never came even for the cremation, though he was the eldest son. He was disowned by Gandhi because of his bad habits. He was a drunkard and he had many other bad habits. So he used to come to Gandhi often. But Gandhi would give him advice. From tomorrow, to stop drinking. He would say, okay. But after going out, he would start drinking. So that's how it happened. He came and saw him at least 4 or 5 times in the 5 years I was with him. But he never left that habit of drinking. So Gandhi, he was not allowed to cremate his body. So the other son, Manilal Gandhi, was in South Africa. He couldn't reach Delhi on time. So it was Devdas Gandhi who was in Delhi. Third son was Ramdas Gandhi in Bombay. He came from Bombay, and he was the man who cremated his body. That's how it happened. Last day, if anything, you want to ask me any questions, I am prepared to answer you. But there are many other things. I may tell you 1 or 2 anecdotes which may interest you. When I first joined Gandhi, I was traveling with him. I was working in the secretariat under the British for 1 year. And in those days there was an establishment section. We used to move to Simla for the summer capital. We were in Simla for 6 months, in Delhi in winter capital. So the establishment section used to take care of our travel and other facilities, and even office paraphernalia, all was taken care of by the establishment section. So when I joined Gandhi, I didn't know who was doing all this. He was traveling by train, and he was on that day, he was observing silence. It was a Monday. He called me. I was sitting in one corner of the compartment. He called, waved the hand. I went to him. He handed me a paper, small paper, written in English, a small letter to Lord Wavell. I took it from his hand, came and sat at my place. He broke his silence at 6 o'clock. At 8 o'clock, that letter had to be delivered to one Miss Sarabhai in Patna, to be delivered to Wavell in Simla. I didn't know about all those details. So I came and sat down without typing that letter. Usually journalists used to travel with us. They always traveled in the other compartment, not in Gandhiji's compartment. They used to travel by second or third class, next to third class compartment. When I told him, and he sent for me after breaking his fast, he said, by breaking his silence, he said, where is the letter? I said, sir, I don't have that letter. I don't have a typewriter. So he immediately retorted, when I sent for a barber, I expect him to bring his tools. So I was a little surprised. I said, what, has joined them now, and he wants me to do that. So anyway, but the girls who were there with him, they had been with him for a number of years. So they told me, the journalists are traveling in the adjoining compartment. You take a typewriter from them, because they will be sending messages here and there while typing on the train. You take it from them. And I took one typewriter. It was a rickety typewriter. I typed it, but I was not myself satisfied with it. But Gandhi never bothered about it. because he never wanted the type, even if there were mistakes, he would correct it and send the same letter. He won't use another paper because that would be a waste of paper economy. So he would send, so that way I managed. I am a workaholic by nature. Even till this day, I work for nearly 18 hours a day. 18 hours, not, I dislike secretarial work. I am always digging and this is the only place where I am working this. I am always in my knickers. I am never in my proper dress.
Ticketless travel.
Ticket.
Ticketless.
Okay, I'll come to that. One or two anecdotes I'll tell. I am a workaholic by nature, and we went to that was Direct Action Day by Jinnah in 1947, and Gandhiji had to go to Calcutta to quell the disturbances between Hindus and Muslims. And when he was sitting in the room, a delegation of Muslims would come and complain against Hindus. Another Hindu delegation would come, they would complain against Muslims. It went on for hours at stretch. And he never gave me any dictation for 1 or 2 days. And I wanted to tell him about it, but he was surrounded by people, by the Chief Minister Saravadi and others. For 2 days and nights, nobody slept. And I couldn't approach him at all. Then one day I said, I must tell him I am getting bored here. I would rather go to the ashram and do my work, because I was working in the fields there, in the Sevagram. And that is my favorite work, working in the fields. So I told him, I wanted to tell him about it. He was wanting to go to the toilet. Toilet was about 20 yards away from his room. He was going there, and when he came back, I caught him in the middle. Sir, you are not giving me any dictation. I am getting bored. I would rather go back to the ashram. I like to do some work. How do you say you have no work? There is plenty of work. I just passed the stools. Go and clean it. So I had to do it, because you can't say there is no work. There is plenty of work for everybody, even today. There is plenty of work to be done, but people don't want to do it. That's the thing. Another incident. What was that you said? I was new. I didn't know who was buying his tickets. He was traveling third, but I didn't know that he was buying tickets. He was buying tickets for everybody who traveled with him. Though the compartment was made free by the government, but he traveled with a ticket in his hand. So I didn't know who was buying his ticket. First time I joined him, and we were going, I think, into Calcutta from Sevagram, and the train had gone nearly 100 miles. Somehow something struck him. On that day, no senior secretary was there, only the 2 girls and myself were there. And suddenly, I don't know what struck him, said, have you bought the tickets? Sir, I don't know who buys the tickets. I am traveling with him, traveling with you all the time. I don't know. Said, okay, next time, next junction, when the train stops, you call the station master. I would like to speak to him. In those days, whenever Gandhi traveled, a mention was made in the newspapers. The train would stop at such and such junction, and there would be a big crowd waiting there. And the station master would also be one in the crowd. He couldn't come and see this Gandhi. So when this train stopped at that junction, I had to search for the station master in that crowd. I said, if Gandhi wants to talk. Oh, you are surprised. Gandhi wants to talk to me. He was very happy about it. He came to Gandhi and he said in Hindi, I will translate it in English, this young boy, referring to me, he has just joined me and he has not bought the tickets. So that man said, you are such a great man, why should we buy a ticket now? So Gandhi said, is this the way you allow great men to travel ticketless? I have to inform the railway authorities and I'll lose your job. So he argued, and that is how he made him purchase the ticket. I had to pay the money, and he said. So these are some of the, there are many other things, but there is no time. I've been given only 20 minutes to talk to you, and I told you about the last day. Anything you want to ask me, I am.
And I'll ask you.
Right. Thank you.
Sir, the
Right.
virtue.
Right. The placard I put up here was written